Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining me. I got a little windfall today. I got an unexpected day off, so I've been piddling around all day doing random things, and I thought it was a perfect time to sit down and do a response to the Sisterhood of the World book tag, second edition, or the 2017 edition. I was tagged for this by CR Flames fan a few days ago, and then also by Richardson Reads. So I'm really wanted to get a response done. So let's get started. Number one. What was a required reading book from elementary or high school that you thought you'd hate but ended up liking? That would be Romeo and Juliet. My high school, ninth grade, we did devoted, I think, a whole semester to Romeo and Juliet by William Shakespeare. It's a play, not a book, but still. And we just engaged in it really deeply. We ended up going through the play in a very detailed way. And we also learned a lot of background about the context of when the play was written and, like what the audience would have thought and who the audience was in this whole period of England, his history in England. We also saw the movie, the Franco Zeffirelli 1968 version, which was rated R originally, and it had not been downgraded yet. So we had to get our parents' permission to go see it. But we saw that. We had to memorize soliloquies and do recitations of those. The boys did the Romeo soliloquies. The girls did the Juliets. And so we had to do that. We had to do projects. We had to do an independent project and present that. And so I just engaged really deeply with Romeo and Juliet. And that's something that I've carried with me really ever since. It's probably still even though we did study other Shakespeare plays in other grades, that one always stuck with me, and it's still, I guess, my favorite, probably my favorite Shakespeare play from that level. I mean, maybe Hamlet is on another level, but yeah. All right. So, number two? Did your classes do book presentations, and if so, did they interest you? Yes, they did, and I loved them. I loved doing book reports. That was something that I was sometimes a lazy student, but I did like doing my book reports. I recently was, not recently, a couple of years ago, I was going through some of my dad's things, and I found a bunch of my school papers. And among my school papers were some book reports that I did, and I had forgotten that we did this thing. It was sort of like a proto-BookTube, where we would divide up into like groups of 4s and 5s, maybe 4, I think. And then we would present the book we read to that little group of 4, and then they would give you feedback on your presentation of the book as well as the book. And they would ask you questions about the book, and so it was sort of a back and forth about that book with your peers. And then they would grade you, so your peers graded you. It was a peer-graded thing. So, yeah, that was a good experience, and yeah, I liked doing. Yeah, so 3, what is your favorite book you've read so far this year? I've answered this question on several other tags, and I'm going to, it's still the same answer. I don't think it's changed. It's Homo Deus. I didn't bring it out here to show it, but it's Homo Deus by Yuval Noah Harari. Homo Deus is a nonfiction work of futurism, which I love futurism. It really just fires my imagination. And he talks about our species, Homo sapiens, and how we are changing, perhaps, as technology changes and as our world society changes. So as we're changing as a species, how we're changing as a species. And I just found it so, interesting and engaging, and I just basically binge read that. But I've read a lot of good stuff this year, so it's really hard to say. Number 4, do you prefer series or standalones? So this changes back and forth. Sometimes it's been series. I would say now it's more standalones. This year I've read the first novel of 2 different series. Three Body Problem by Lucy Shin has 2 other works that I haven't read yet, and then Two Like the Lightning by Ada Palmer has 1 other work out, and I think another one coming this year. So I've only read the first of those, so I'm reading them as if they're standalones. But I used to read, back when I was reading series more, I would just get a series and I'd read like all the way through it until I was done with it. Excuse me. All right, number 5, do you prefer character or plot-driven books? This is another one that changes, back and forth, back and forth. I'm really kind of on the fence with this because, it's hard for me to say. I think I might say character-driven right now, but that's really probably really difficult to say. I think I'm really on the fence because what I do is if I'm reading a character-driven novel, I tend to assign a narrative to it. So if the narrative is not told to me by the author, I tend to create my own narrative, my own plot. If I'm reading a plot-driven book and the characters aren't fully developed or we don't know a lot about the characters, we're focused on the plot, I might assign aspects of a character to the characters that the author didn't. So I think I tend to want both from my experience, and so I fill in the gaps where I sort of myself maybe. Yeah. All right. So number 6, where is your favorite place to read? So right now my favorite place to read is in bed. Before bed, like an hour and a half before bed, I like to go to bed, go and lay down and prop up and read and for an hour and a half there. To me that's just real comfy, and that's my favorite place. Number 7, what are the last 5 BookTube videos that you've watched? Okay, I checked my history, so here they go. The last video I watched was the Sisterhood of the World Book Tag 2017 edition by Richardson Reads. I highly recommend Richardson Reads' channel if you haven't been to it. I go to his channel a lot, watch his channel a lot. He does a lot of shelf tours. He has a wonderful book collection, very eclectic collection. He's a very eclectic reader, very well read in nonfiction, fiction. I really enjoy his channel. Number 2, I watched the B.M. Gregory channel, Reading My Country book tag for England. Reading My Country England book tag by Ben, and then his wife Misa. I watched her Manga Mondays video. So B.M. Gregory is a husband-wife BookTube team, and I enjoyed their channel as well. The B is Ben and the M is Misa. Ben is English and Misa is Japanese, and I think they live in Japan. But they do a lot of manga and stuff that I'm not that familiar with, that I'm still sort of learning about. So I really like watching their videos. They are a lot of fun. They have interesting commentary, and they're just fun and nice people. So I enjoy their channel. Then the third one, I watched Why Do Stereotypes Exist by Lukáš's Books. So Lukáš does a lot of, he's also an interesting reader. I find myself drawn to a lot of what he reads. And he's right now started a new series. I think he's in social psychology, master's degree. And so he's going to start a series about scholarly articles that he comes across that he finds are interesting. And the Why Do Stereotypes Exist was the first of that series. So I'm really looking forward to that series. Then number 4, I watched Run Right Reads' August book haul that she did. Run Right Reads is a person I also enjoy going to her channel. She's another one I need to open my Goodreads for, because I get a lot of reading recommendations from her that I want to keep up with and keep on my radar for future reads. She's an eclectic reader also, and she provides really concise and intelligent commentary about what she reads, and I really enjoy her channel. And then finally, number 5, I watched the book review of The Tartar Step by Dino Buzzati. This was done by Paper Bird. This was a very fun review of this sort of grim book. And after this video, I found myself oddly drawn to read this book, even though the review made it sound sort of grim. I'm compelled, something's compelling me to read that book. So I have put that book on my future read list, so hopefully I'll get to it sooner or later. But I enjoy Paper Bird's channel. He reads a lot of things that I don't run across elsewhere, and he's another one that I need to have my Goodreads open and keep up with, future reads with the list of update my list of future reads based on his channel. All right, so now number 8, list of 5 non-BookTube BookTube videos that you've watched. Wow, okay. You get to see the other BookTube me, I guess, a little bit. I checked my history again. The first one I watched, Nick Bellini channel. This is the soap opera The Doctors. It's a long story about why I'm watching The Doctors. The Doctors was an American soap opera that was on in the late 60s and throughout the 70s. I'm not exactly sure when it went off the air. I'm on about January 1974. Not every episode's on there, but I am kind of going in order. It's one of those things I can just put on. I've now learned who the people are. So yeah, there's my story. I'm watching The Doctors on the Nick Bellini channel. Then number 2, I was listening to music from the recent remake of Rocky Horror Picture Show. So I watched the Ivy Levin version. Well, I watched a lot of the music, but the Ivy Levin version of the intro, science fiction double feature, the intro song, and then Adam Lambert did Hot Patootie, so I was listening to that recently too. Then number 3, I watched Treating Advanced Prostate Cancer with Diet from nutritionfacts.org. I watch everything nutritionfacts.org puts out. This is a doctor, a medical doctor who goes through the scientific literature on some sorts of nutritional topics and then presents that in videos, and the channel is called nutritionalfacts.org. Then number 4, the Duke of Chin channel. I watched the 4th IBCC dance competition opening gala. I attended a dance drama, a Chinese dance drama from a performing troupe from China a few months ago, and after that I got interested in Chinese classical dance as well as just Chinese modern dance, and I ran across this channel, and he puts a lot of good content about Chinese dance on his channel, and I love putting that on sometimes and just having that on. I recommend watching that on TV, though, if you can get YouTube on your TV. Finally, number 5, I was also listening recently to a bunch of Lana Del Rey. I'm a Lana Del Rey fan, and Love, the video Love, I love that video. So I watched that among others of her, but I love that video because there's that song is like for the youth, and it says you're part of the past, yet you're the future, and the graphic, the sort of the visuals that she uses is sort of 70s themes, and that's when I was in high school and stuff, and so I just love that video. I think it's beautiful, and I love that song. Finally, number 9. If you could live in any world with any character, where would it be and who? Yeah, so if I was going to live in a world other than now, Richardson Reeves responded that he prefers living in now, and yeah, me too. I think I do too. I like having antibiotics and, modern surgery and, stuff like that, the internet. But if I picked a fictional world to go to, I would probably pick Middle Earth. And live with the elves. I'd like to live with the elves maybe, but I'd like to be able to visit the hobbits. Because the elves could be, I think I like their towns better, and the hobbits are a little extroverted. So I think I'm a little more introverted. I may be a little more elfish. But I would want to go visit the hobbits. So, yeah. Yeah, that's the tag. I'll close with that. I'm not going to tag anybody. If you see this tag and you think it's fun, please respond in the comments below or do a video. I'd love to hear anyone's responses, really. So I will close with that. Until next time, take care. Bye.